Okay guys, so welcome to today's video, and it's going to be a little bit different. As you can see, I'm in the office here, I'm not out in the field. I had planned to film this video later on this afternoon. I'm heading out into the mountains, and the weather is just looking a little bit iffy, so I kind of thought, you know what, I'm going to just do this one in the office here, and I'll probably still record my normal vlog style video later, which will hopefully be coming next Sunday. But for this one, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my top 5 accessories for landscape photography. So these are things that I use most of the time, to be honest, and they're kind of, apart from obviously your camera and your lens and your tripod, which are I would regard as your essential pieces of landscape photography kit, these are extra little bits that I just find extremely useful. So I'm going to run through them very quickly, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. So the first one, and this might sound a little bit geeky and a little bit boring, but you may have heard about monitor calibration. So anything else that I'm going to talk about, or any other tutorials you see in landscape photography, this is kind of the foundation of the whole thing. And what this is the new Spyder X by Datacolour, and it calibrates your monitor. Now, what I mean by that is, whenever you have a monitor and you bring your images in, every monitor that you're going to be looking at will have a different brightness, it'll have different colours, it'll have a different warmth to it. And what you need to make sure is that whenever you're bringing your images back into Lightroom or Capture One or whatever you're using, you want to make sure that you're starting your editing process on a screen that is accurately calibrated. So these little things here, this is amazing. This is the Spyder X by Datacolour. Now, I've been using Datacolour Spyders for probably about 15 years or more to calibrate monitors right through from PCs to the Macs that I'm using at the minute. And I was really excited. They reached out to me about 6 weeks ago to say, look, can we send you our latest one, which is the Spyder X. You get it in 2 versions. You get it in the Pro, or you get it in the Elite. And this will calibrate your monitor in, I think it works out like less than 2 minutes. So it's crazy fast. It's so straightforward. You literally hook it up, download the software, hang it on your monitor. The only big thing is you need to make sure that your monitor is warmed up for about 30 minutes before you do it. And you hit go, and this thing here does everything for you. It will adjust your brightness. It will adjust the warmth of your screen. So you can make sure that whenever you start your editing process, all your colors, it's a really good foundation. If you can think of it like you're laying your foundation for everything that's going to come afterwards. So what you don't want happening is coming back in, getting these amazing images, and then coming back in and starting to edit them on a screen that is either too bright or too dark, or is too warm or too cold. And this thing here will adjust it to make sure that it's accurate. The one thing I find with the Mac screens is that they always seem to be too bright straight out of the box, and they always seem to be too cold. And you might not notice it until you actually run the calibration, and then you see what it should look like, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. So yeah, definitely check it out. As I say, I've used these Datacolour Spyders for about 15 years, and this is their latest one, and honestly, less than 2 minutes will probably calibrate your monitor, and I promise you, you won't look back. So yeah, this is probably the number one, because as I say, everything else is kind of built on having an accurate monitor. So the next one I want to talk about is filters. Now, I realise that this is I guess a little bit of a funny subject, because some people hate using filters. For me, I'm still a great believer in trying to get as much as I can when I'm shooting the image, and get it as accurate as I can. I actually like seeing what the shot will potentially look like on the back of the screen, as opposed to having to always be shooting 3 or 4 exposures and bracketing for the sky and bracketing for the foreground and all this. So yeah, filters still extremely important to me. I'm fortunate enough to be an ambassador for NISA UK, and this is their V6 holder, which is a fantastic system that screws onto the front of your lens, clips on. Now, one of the things that I actually really like about this is that it has a lock-in mechanism. So it's a quick release, pop it onto the adapter ring on the front of your lens, and then you can actually lock it in position. And it means that if you're moving about and you've got your holder on the front of your lens, it's not going to fall off, basically. So really, really good system. No vignetting at 16mm, even with 3 filters on the front, which I just find is absolutely fantastic. And their whole set of filters are fantastic. Really love them. So yeah, still a big fan of using filters where possible. So this will always be in my bag, no matter what kind of photography I'm shooting. I'll always have the filter system with me. A couple of other things, so I'm kind of going to group these together because I kind of think they work together, but keeping your lenses and your filters clean and dry when you're out shooting is so important. So a couple of little things, the Zeiss, the one lens wipe. These are fantastic. They're sealed, so you just rip them open, and they're obviously they're a great little wipe to use. I would use that then along with a microfiber cloth to keep the lens or the filters clean. The other thing is shower caps. Now, if you can get some clear shower caps, it means that you can, if it's raining or mizzling or you're maybe working with a lot of sea spray, you can actually pull this over the top of your over the front of your lens. You can still actually see through it, so you can compose the shot, you can get everything dialed in, and then whenever the rain stops or whatever, it's just a matter of pulling it off and taking your shot. These are invaluable. I would use them in probably 80% of the time when I'm out, because I tend to shoot when there is rain and inclement weather. So shower caps, you can normally get them in like hotel rooms if you're away. They normally have them, or you can kind of grab them off Amazon, which I did. The other thing that goes along with that is sometimes when it is maybe extremely wet and you this whole hassle of, if you've got filters and the filter holder in front of your camera and you need to get your camera way back into your bag out of the rain, it's a bit of a hassle to take everything apart to get it to fit in. So I found this little 10-litre rucksack in Decathlon, and it just pulls over the top of the whole thing. So I can actually pull this over the top of the camera, the filters, the lens, the whole thing, while it's on the tripod, zip it up, and it keeps it completely enclosed, and it means that I don't have to then worry about taking the whole thing apart to get it back into my bag out of the rain. So little things like this, and again, these are only a few quid. Those there are probably pennies, and you can buy like a big massive box of like 200 of these off Amazon. So they're not that expensive, unlike the filters or the data calibrator. These little things are just handy things to have, and things that I find extremely useful. Moving on to the fourth thing, and that is a remote release. Now, a lot of cameras have apps that you can connect to your phone, so it kind of, some of them might actually not, you might not need to use one of these. With the Sony, I shoot with the Sony A7R III, and I find the app that comes with it is pretty awful, to be honest. I don't like it. It disconnects. There's lots of bugs with it. It's just not a good app. Now, before I went for this wireless option, I bought a cheap, like newer one off Amazon that plugged into the side of the Sony. Now, whenever you're using an L bracket with the Sony, it is a complete and utter nightmare because the cable just doesn't fit very well, and it kept coming out. It was just horrible. It actually put me off using it. So whenever they released this this wireless one, now this is expensive, but this is the RMT-P1BT. This is amazing because you sync it with your camera. It takes about 20-30 seconds and you're good to go. That's it. It's running battery power. You can lock it so that it doesn't try to start connecting while it's lying in your bag, and it's fantastic. Really, really lightweight, and it's small. This is useful if you are needing to use exposures longer than 30 seconds, because you can obviously flip the camera into bulb mode, and then you just flick this on, and then if you want to stop it again, you press it again. The other thing as well, if you don't want to be using your 2-second timer or your 5-second timer, maybe you're shooting waves that are coming crashing in and you really have to time when you want to take the shot, this kind of thing is really good so that you're not touching the camera and causing any kind of camera shake. You can just fire away with this. But yeah, if you own a Sony and you're using an L bracket, I would highly recommend buying this over buying one of the wired ones, because I've had nothing but problems with the wired ones before. So yeah, check this one out. Bit expensive, but definitely worth it. Okay, so the last item, and I've kind of talked about this before in one of my gear videos. This is a Pano Head by Really Right Stuff. Now, I use their BH50 or BH55 ball head, and it's a beast. It's absolutely amazing. It's built like a tank, and this matches it perfectly. Now, there are cheaper models on the market which will probably do exactly the same thing, so don't feel you have to be going out and spending a crazy amount of money on something like this. But it's the principle of the whole thing that whenever you're shooting panos, this goes on to your ball head, and then all you have to do is just level the ball head, and it has a little locking mechanism, and then you can just spin it around. So it means as you're spinning it around, it's going to be completely level, so your horizon is going to be perfectly straight, and all you have to do is just pop your camera on the top, get it leveled up, and then spin it around, and it will give you a really nice level spin for shooting panos. This comes with a nodal slide, which if you saw my last video on shooting panoramas, you'll see me using it and how I kind of use the nodal slide. It adds a bit more weight, and it's quite big, so I don't tend to use it that much actually. This here I find 90% of the time works perfectly on its own. But yeah, it's the Really Right Stuff one is expensive, but it's amazing. Like, this has been chipped and dropped and banged, and there's scuffs on it, and it's great, but it's heavy, and it's just built to last. So I kind of saw it as an investment that if I buy this once, then hopefully I won't have to buy any other ones. But yeah, if you're shooting panos, or you maybe want to try and get into shooting panos, look for a head like this, because yeah, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Again, I apologise, this video is not my normal sort of video, and it's sort of done in the office. But yeah, normal service will be resumed next Sunday, when I'll be up into the Moor Mountains. And yeah, if you have any accessories or any little gadgets or things that you find that are really useful for landscape photography, drop them in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.